Hey, so I recently came across a very interesting quote by Epictetus, who is a Stoic philosopher, and he was talking about control, and I found it very interesting. And really, it's about the control we assume we have over our reality, over our environment. And he first starts with the fact that what we think is reality is actually just our judgments of reality. And he starts the quote with, first you have to say, you are but an appearance and not the thing you appear to be. And from that point, you realize, okay, this, first of all, this is a judgment. Whether or not it's true, could be a true judgment, but first you treat it as a judgment. And then the second part of the quote is, then you examine that judgment by rules you've defined. And the first thing you should judge it by is whether or not you have control over it or you don't. And that is interesting because I feel like we there's like two parts to that. There's first realizing it's a judgment, the second part, and then deciding whether that judgment, what to do with it, and then deciding whether you even have control over it or not. I feel like our thinking is so automatic and so, you know, instantaneous. We never naturally stop and reflect. And even just practicing that those steps he outlines, immediately you realize, wow, like there's a lot of stuff that goes through my head that isn't is just assumed. And most of those things could be right. It's just that with the things that are wrong, let's say it's negative judgments, it could even be like a social situation, and you'll have whatever assumptions about it, and you realize, oh shit, like there's just so much going on. And yeah, there'll definitely be a follow-up. There's a lot more to this that I do want to talk about, but yeah, I just thought it was a very interesting way of realizing how we assume our judgments are true, and first of all, then secondly, how we assume we have control of the situation. And very quickly you realize that you don't in a lot of situations. And the last part is really interesting because it's like you examine whether you do have control over the thing or not, and then the last part is, if you don't, then you say it's nothing to you. And that's it. It's absolutely nothing to you. And further on from that, Epictetus talks about how the things that we have absolute control over are our thoughts and our actions, and everything else is not fully under our control. Everything else is what I'd call semi in control or negotiable control. It's like some aspects of something are in your control and some aspects aren't. Like if you want to get a promotion, like the part in your control is working hard, showing the people that would promote you that you're working hard. The other sides that aren't in your control, obviously the decision that the other person makes. So everything else in reality is a mixture, but the realm of control, it really is more internal stuff. And there's a few misconceptions with that, which I'll probably talk about in the follow-up video, but I thought I'd just lay this out there, and then follow up.